This timeline visualization illustrates the core problem in modern cybersecurity. Driven by automated threat agents, the gap between vulnerability discovery and active exploitation has collapsed to near zero. Historically, security teams relied on a predictable buffer. When a new flaw was identified, engineers had weeks, sometimes months, to triage the alert, test patches, and manually update systems. Today, AI-enabled attackers process those same disclosures in minutes. They generate and deploy exploit code against exposed architecture before analysts finish reading the bulletin. Manual triage queues introduce a lag that prevents defenders from intercepting high-speed, automated attacks. Piling standard machine learning on top exacerbates the problem. Algorithms that merely flag theoretical flaws create severe alert fatigue, paralyzing teams with noise while actual threats slip through. The required architecture is an autonomic AI system. Rather than generating a massive, unprioritized list of alerts for humans to resolve, the defense must automatically validate risk, draft the patch, and execute the remediation. Because the exploit window has effectively vanished, organizations can no longer treat machine speed defense as optional. It is a logical requirement to keep the enterprise online. Google AI Threat Defense operationalizes this autonomic approach through a strict 4-stage chronological framework: prepare, scan and prioritize, remediate, and monitor. The first priority is the prepare phase. Before any deep code scanning begins, an organization must reduce its reachable exposure, as isolated vulnerabilities pose a significantly lower risk than those on untrusted paths. Looking at this architectural map, we can see how Google utilizes the Wiz platform to execute continuous mapping across complex hybrid cloud environments. The scan categorizes assets and clusters architecture into distinct API gateways and external routing hubs. This visibility extends directly into the runtime environment, isolating active data pathways and checking identity configurations for overly permissive access. This distinction dictates resource allocation. A vulnerability living in isolated dead code poses a negligible threat compared to a flaw directly connected to a reachable public-facing API. By accurately mapping these reachable paths, true architectural preparation limits the potential blast radius and strips away irrelevant noise before the deep scanning phase is even initiated. In the scan and prioritize phase, we move past the misconception that enterprise security requires a single monolithic AI model. Optimal defense relies on a multi-model strategy. Here on the network map, these broad, continuous light waves represent lighter, specialized AI models. They provide fast, cost-effective scanning across the entire enterprise area. But high-value exposed nodes require greater processing power. For these targets, the system deploys frontier models, like Gemini, to conduct deep logic analysis. These models analyze the most complex attack vectors, such as untangling convoluted authentication logic or tracing vulnerabilities buried deep within third-party dependencies. Once a potential flaw is detected, the platform performs exploitability validation. It cross-references the theoretical finding against the live runtime architecture data gathered by Wiz. This validation filters the theoretical noise, stripping away the false positives until only the genuine business-critical risks remain. Standard AI security tools skip this step entirely, dumping unverified alerts onto the desks of engineers. Exploitability validation is the required mechanism to direct remediation resources exactly where they are needed, matching machine speed without exhausting human bandwidth. This brings us to the remediate phase. The objective here is measurable: shrink the patching timeline from weeks down to minutes. To execute this, Google integrates the CodeMender agent directly into the developer's integrated development environment and command line workflows. This diagram outlines the autonomous sequence. First, the agent analyzes the validated threat and generates the appropriate patch, which can include rewriting legacy syntax into a modern memory-safe language. Second, the agent automatically generates and runs rigorous tests against the new code. This ensures the fix resolves the vulnerability without breaking any dependent systems. Third, once verified, the clean code is pushed directly into the live production environment. By shipping patches alongside engineering teams, organizations satisfy their workload side obligations under the cloud provider shared fate models. Autonomous code-level remediation closes the vulnerability window, neutralizing the speed advantage of the automated attacker. The final phase is monitor. Static code scanning prevents vulnerabilities from reaching production, but it cannot intercept an exploit currently executing in live memory. To handle active threats, This dashboard visualization shows how Google Security Operations functions as the central nervous system for the runtime environment, continuously ingesting telemetry streams. That telemetry is contextualized using Mandiant's frontline threat intelligence, matching live system anomalies against the known tactics of sophisticated adversaries. When an intrusion attempt is verified, the system triggers machine-speed active response playbooks, instantly isolating the compromised assets before the attacker can pivot. This entire operation runs under a human-on-the-loop model. Elite analysts oversee the autonomous execution, stepping in for complex strategic decisions rather than acting as primary alert triagers. Continuous, rehearsed monitoring forms the critical bridge, ensuring that if static code defense is bypassed, active threat neutralization takes over instantly. An advanced platform provides the necessary architecture, but a platform is a tool, not an operational outcome. Most enterprise security organizations face a strict bandwidth problem. They lack the internal engineering resources required to implement, tune, and manage these autonomous capabilities. To bridge this gap, organizations utilize TENEX.AI as their dedicated delivery partner for the Google AI Threat Defense Platform. TENEX takes the raw autonomous capabilities of the platform and operationalizes them. They integrate directly with the customer's engineering teams to turn theoretical findings into verified, shipped code. This Gantt chart compares traditional MDR timelines against the AI native standard. The legacy timeline fails. Manual investigation moves too slowly, striking the exploit event before remediation completes. Conversely, TENEX's automated triage feeds directly into playbooks, completing remediation before the attacker can exploit. Throughout this high-speed process, TENEX analysts maintain high-fidelity oversight, eliminating false positives and approving AI-generated drafts to ensure system stability. The exploit window has reached the limit of human speed response. The only effective countermeasure to an AI-driven adversary is an AI-driven defense. Securing the enterprise now requires evaluating your current vulnerability response times and deciding if they meet the machine speed standard.